Okay, so David, you have this
Yes.
great idea. Post in the car with IPR that we do reflections. Just fantastic for the day.
Always thinking about, there's just something about like spending time reflecting on just what just happened that I know is like valuable for me. Like I'll go into a meeting with a client and then spend a couple of minutes after. So I thought, hey, let's reflect on our day to day, what we talked about.
Fantastic. Number one, you're a great driver.
Thank you.
Did I say that?
Thank you. I was trying to be super safe with you and just like talk and drive and manage the music all at the same time.
You did it very seamlessly where I would be like, I will probably crash.
So thank you. And thanks for your willingness for the props.
Oh
I
my
thought,
God, I loved it.
Like, let's make it fun. You have one of the best senses of humor of like anyone I know. I so appreciate that because I try and bring my sense of humor, like the inner child in me, up more so. And sometimes I like tamp it down, but you are full on out there. So
good. I'm going to tell my kids that.
So I love that. Well,
and now we have like proof.
Yes.
I actually am funny.
Wait, but
Here's
so
our kids.
do you put on like mom persona, like parent persona?
With the kids?
Yeah.
I should, but I don't.
Yeah. It's funny. Sometimes with Abby and Noah, they know I'm like coaching them, and they're like, so that's interesting. So Steve has a Mr. Files, which is like very different. But I like sometimes they'll know like I'm starting to coach them, and they're like, Abba, like I'm not your client. I'm like, oh my gosh. All I was trying to do was impart just a learning or some wisdom. And Steve is really good because sometimes he's like, David, turn it off. Like just be dad for this minute. I don't even realize sometimes. Although I do, like I'm so cognizant with clients of wanting to make every moment value. Like we need to be thinking about like bringing value to clients like every day, every meeting, every week, and in whatever way we can. And so I'm wired that way. So sometimes when I'm at home with the girls, it's hard to turn it off. And like Steve's point to me sometimes is just love them and support them. And I do in both.
I know, but it's sometimes still.
But there are times where I like, Noah, I want you to take more responsibility for your environment right now. I know you can do it. It's
what is your strategy or goal that you're going to accomplish?
It's like, girlfriend, clean up your room. But I don't say that. I say like, I'll say, Noah, like you and I have been talking about, taking more responsibility for your environment. Like we're in 7th grade, you can do that.
Yeah.
And I said, if I were to go up to your room right now, like what would I think? And she'll say, I'll be right back. Which is perfect.
Ask me that question in 15 minutes.
That's right. She's like, I know exactly what that means. Or, I'll walk into Noah's room and I'll be like, sweetie, like I see this on the ground and this on the ground and this on the ground. Like clean up after yourself.
My daughter's more of like we were in Japan and I was like, oh my gosh. I was like looking at some websites. They have a lot of like hot springs, sulfur. I was like, oh no, look at that. She was like, are you mansplaining hot springs? She's all about, are you having a conversation or are you like, man? So I pulled back.
Yeah.
But the most humbling thing is like kids at that age, because they don't give a crap who you are or what you do.
Right.
They only is like that interaction that I feel like as a parent, I'm the same. I'm very goofy and funny all the time and joking around with them. But I also see that they got the humor and like my daughter's super sarcastic.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh really? And I'm like, that's, and I look at her and I'm like, oh, that's what I do. Like you see it reflected, you're like, that's me. And
yes.
Which is really, it's really funny. They're really funny. All my kids are very different. It's very funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's when you talk about my learning.
Yeah, learning reflection from today.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that I saw today, or like just a learning that I don't think I thought about, was when you said, we spend so much time on generative AI, but some of the skills that are evergreen and essential, like leadership, that are critical to development of employees, where it's not something that is like consistent cost. And and then I made the comment to you off camera that, right, if we offered leadership programs the same volume as we do AI,
Yeah.
we would at least need people to.
Yeah, I know, and that's a bummer. I feel like we need to solve for that, and maybe it's not the same volume. But how do we prioritize leadership skills for our people? I mean, we talked about development and the importance of coaching and development.
Right.
There's nothing more important than helping people elevate how they show up and their presence and what they say at the table. And let's stop talking about getting at the table. It's about getting at the table. It's like what you say.
That conversation's done.
It's weird.
But it's not done.
Done.
People still talk about Jersey and Zane.
I say, but it's about what you say at the table that reminds people that, oh, they need to be at this table. I need to invite them to other tables. Like that's what needs to be happening. And I remember the point came home for me when I was at McDonald's and I moved from the communications department into a functional department into operations. So I was supporting the chief operations officer. All of a sudden, I was getting all of this development and training that everyone else in operations got that I didn't get when I was in the communications department. So that caused me to pause and say, well,
why not?
Why is that?
Yeah.
And why aren't folks in communications getting the same kind of leadership and development and managing and influencing without authority and like all of that training? We need that. And we need to prioritize that and not be so focused on like shiny object syndrome. And then, of course, it's not an either or, it's a both and. But sometimes I feel like enough already with AI. I don't mean it that way, but
so talk maybe in a second all the shiny objects syndrome.
so I think we saw that like with social media, that like we gravitate to something that we think is a solution. It's going to solve all my problems. It's easy path versus something like focusing on my leadership skills, which is like much harder to have a mirror held up to you and to be thinking about like, how do I need to grow and develop? Like, what do I not do well? Like, what are the like truths that I don't know that people know about me that I need to work on?
Yeah.
Ways in which I don't show up well or I have bad habits. Like, I think we all need to be cognizant and work on how we show up.
Absolutely. I mean, leadership, there's no one who I'm like, oh, they're the perfect leader.
Right.
There's always something that
Yeah.
you can work on.
And it's so situational as well. Like, how do you apply your sort of leadership lens in different kinds of situations? And the reality is you got to flex. Like, you may need to show up more heart focused in this situation, or you may need to show up more head focused, like in this situation, or much more empathetic, or like, so it's challenging.
Yeah.
No question about it. But I think it's worth continuing to work on and solve.
Yeah, I thought that your thought partner was really interesting in the business first perspective. And I also what you were saying about operations. I remember my husband, when he worked at Amazon, they sent him into also the warehouse to spend like a day in the warehouses. And I also think like communicators made like to be that business focused, like working in the field and looking at different elements. So I don't think there's any other position in the workplace that has that oversight than maybe operations, but really has that lens to see like what's happening in the mission.
Yeah, I think that's a key differentiator. It's like we see the big picture view of the organization, which means we can help and the CEO sees it too. Maybe the operations office, when just the CEO. Like that's a unique view and perspective, which allows us to help the organization prioritize what's important. Our view on stakeholders, their sort of perceptions, being the voice for the stakeholder inside the organization is such an important like role that we play that other like person plays. I'll always remember at McDonald's, we did send Delaney leadership training, and in one of the leadership exercises, they drew this 4-quadrant box on the floor. And they said, now go stand in like where you literally are in that quadrant. And what I remember is all the senior leadership on the operations team was over there. And I stood over there in the corner and it was like, oh, like this sucks. No one is standing with me. And the facilitator did such a brilliant job of saying, what does it mean that you all are here in this quadrant and David is here? Like, What does that tell you? How do you leverage that? And like his point was, I brought a really different perspective, an important voice that could easily get drowned out by all of those folks. And like that was such an empowering moment when I realized, yeah, we have a unique voice at the table in communications because of what we do, how we interact with constituencies, and are we leveraging that on behalf of our team and the organization? I know we can do that better.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it was a big learning. And I loved too, it sort of changed even my thinking about like how I thought about myself in my role. And I know as I work with leadership teams and with communication professionals that we have a license to operate. And we so often don't take advantage of that license, that empowerment that we have to speak up, to share our perspective, to share a different point of view, to be that additional business leader at a table. And I think if more of us could do that, and there are lots of examples of people who do that, of course, if more of us could do that, what a significant difference that would make for our teams, the organization, and for ourselves as well.
Yeah. And I think the point also, like being in that situation or have the opportunity to say, all right, what quadrant is like a development exercise.
Yes.
Which is why organizations, this development is such an important piece. One thing I wanted you to say that we talked about off camera is that you don't necessarily have to say, all right, you have to go to this workshop or this seminar.
Right.
So maybe talk just briefly about that.
Yeah, that was an interesting conversation that we had off camera. I think we need to reframe what development means, because I think we think development and we think about going to a blank versus thinking about how do we, and of course, everyone should have a development plan. They should have multiple conversations with their boss during the year about development. I mean, there's some basics that must happen. But then beyond that, how do we build development into our everyday? So for example, one of the things we talked about off camera was, it could be as easy as saying, Mr. and Ms. Business Leader, I'm bringing Sarah to the meeting today because I know development is important to you. You told us in our research with you that you want to make sure we're developing our people. I'm bringing her today as a development opportunity for her. What she's going to present to you represents our collective thinking. She just happens to be the voice today. Like, it can be as simple as that. But it's like, think about how purposeful you have to be. And what a great opportunity for Sarah. And what a great way to the business leader to say, you told us there's a need, we're listening, I'm doing it. It's like everybody does.
You have to really drill that in.
You must drill that in, clearly. You have to build it into the format. No question about it.
I will also say that they should look at our IPR early and next programs as well.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, I mean, like the people that are presenting on the topics they're presenting on.
Oh, it's such a great.
What a fantastic opportunity, and what you can learn in like small bites of time.
It's amazing. Yeah, I love holding for our next programs. All right, what else?
Was there anything I said today that caused you pause, and you were like, gosh, I think about that differently, or I'm not sure I agree with that?
I don't think there's anything that I didn't agree on. I think like the point about, I really like the business focus.
Yeah.
I think sometimes we miss that. And also I say, I judge on ton of awards programs.
Yeah.
Probably like 5 or 6 a year. And it's amazing to me when you look at outcomes or results or the media.
Yeah.
And there's not enough business. There's not enough connection to there's not enough business for business.
Yeah.
Thinking about the business. But I think that, I know I can have like chart posts. I think coupled with the business is so important. Like business vision, always having that business mindset is so important.
Yeah.
But nothing like because maybe you didn't see Taylor Swift and all of them.
I don't know that I knew all the words, but I do love Taylor Swift.
Oh my gosh. Pretty question.
Yeah. It's interesting. We've been doing some work with some clients around business planning, their communication planning, and developing goals and objectives. And part of the work that we've been doing is asking them to identify and articulate business problems that we're going to help solve. And the challenge that presents for so many of us in the communications profession, that so often we jump to a solution or a tactic versus getting great clarity around here's what's happening in the external environment. Here then is the business problem we need to solve. Because when we know that, then we can be clear about how our goals and objectives should align to getting that done. So I'm just reinforcing this focus on business and how do we get more people focused and less on this sort of tactical parts. Yeah, tactical drift. I talk about.
I like that tactical drift.
We just jump into the weeds so quickly. We've got a solution of this and of that, but we don't have clarity around what's the problem we're trying to solve, together. And that's a development opportunity too for folks. Yeah. A way for us to level up how we think, how we show up, how we contribute to the business.
I think about that with my kids too, but I'm not trying to solve the problem. Because sometimes that's what you move into.
Yes.
You're like, all right, trying to do that for a while. Be ready for this.
Yeah, no, agree.
What else? Anything else? What a fun day.
This was super fun. It was super fun. And thanks for your willingness to sort of process, to start
experiencing. Oh my God, it was so great. I will say the other thing is that was really fun. They don't even know. Sarah Neighbor, who called today, which was fun. We called your daughter at school to do a Jennifer Coolidge impression. That was like a highlight because we were talking about Jennifer Coolidge. And,
yes.
My son also does a great.
So let's share the context. So Tina was talking with me about a couple of questions at the end she was going to ask. I'm like, oh my gosh, I need time to think about these. And so you had said that Jennifer Coolidge, the question about who would you like to have dinner with or whatever, living or dead, answered living.
That was Ariana Grande on SNL. Was like, who would you have dinner with, living or dead? And she's like, living.
There you go.
That's the best response.
So I said my daughter Avi, who's 15, does the best Jennifer Coolidge impression. So she's on a trip today with a sophomore class, going to Southern Illinois. So I'm like, let's call her. I'm like, hi, honey, meet Tina. Will you do your Jennifer Coolidge impression?
And she did. And she was so, not only did she did it, she did the one, oh my God, you look like the 4th of July. It's real bad.
Yes.
It was so good. And she was so lovely, and you could tell her friends were around her.
Yes.
She did the impression. She was, so happy, and it was just so sweet.
Yeah,
it was so sweet. I was like, oh, she's so want to meet your daughter.
Thanks. I mean, hey, it's those kind of moments I think that are just that's what life's about for me these days. These fun, let's call Avi.
Let's call your daughter. She's going to a field trip on the bus.
Let's do that. Let's see if she responds. I think it's
she answered, and she's like, I have time.
She's like, I'm happy to do it. Because I was thinking she would say, I'm not a performing monkey, which is also a phrase often used in our house with some people that like to tee up the girls. For other people, they're like, I'm not a performing monkey. But she was like, I'm happy to do it, which
it was so cute.
I so appreciate it. Thanks for remembering that. That was super fun. It's the small moments. So let's cheers small moments. Yeah, thanks for doing it. Hopefully it become a tradition out there. All right, thanks, Steve.